We are from Auchenharvie Academy
and we are all members of the Cost of the School Day Voice Network.
We are from Boghall Primary School and we are part of the Cost of the School Day Network.
We are all from Holyrood Secondary School.
and we are all members of the Cost of the School Day Voice Network.
During Challenge Poverty Week, we all took part in the Big Question.
The Big Question asks what helps us to be ready to learn, and about some of the things at school that cost money, like food and trips.
We were also asked some of our big Cost of the School Day ideas.
When young people can't afford things for school, it can be hard to join in, learn and be happy.
We took part in the Big Question because we think it's important that adults know what we think about costs at school.
It's important that adults look for ways to make sure young people aren't experiencing problems because their families have less money.
These are our suggestions to make that happen.
Our Big Questions answers have been put together into the short film and written report. You can find the full Big Question report if you scan this QR code.
Lots of us took part in the Big Question.
5,394 children and young people from all over Scotland.
In some schools, lots of young people took part, sometimes hundreds.
In some schools, small groups took part, and in other schools, groups decided what their answer would be together.
However, you answered the Big Question. A big thank you, because all of our answers really matter.
We were asked what we need to help us feel ready to learn.
Most of us thought that not being tired and stressed is really important. Lots of what we need to be able to learn is stuff to do with outside of school and can be affected with how much money we have at home.
People said that they think they need
A good night's sleep in a comfy warm bed.
I think what would help us in learning is having a full stomach in the morning.
Having the uniform on, not worrying if the heating is going to be on when you get home and hot food at home.
Some of being ready to learn is to do with what happens in school.
We want happy schools with kind adults who help us feel safe, respected and included. Good spaces to learn in and our friendships really matter.
We need to have grown-ups that are listening to us and that our opinions are important.
Some people said that
It helps to have a good teacher who isn't shouty.
Knowing you'll get help when you need it.
We think it's really important to have the things to learn at school like pens, pencils and devices.
We also think it's important that nobody is hungry. People said
Having access to your own device that has everything you need for learning.
Not getting shouted at if you don't bring supplies like pencils, because some people don't mean to not bring them and they just can't afford them.
we need to be able to take part in the same things as our friends and classmates.
People said that.
Being able to learn and experience the same things as other students.
Being able to do and try everything at school.
We are all different, so there were lots of different ideas about what makes us ready to learn and lots of ways that adults can help.
there are loads more comments in the written report if you would like to read them. You can find it via this QR code.
Many of the things that we all thought are important to help us be ready to learn can be difficult to afford for families with less money.
We know that some things at school cost money, but what matters the most if you can't afford it?
Here's our top 5 costs.
We all agreed that big costs like food and uniform matter the most.
Travelling to school was voted third most important cost by everyone.
In primary schools, we thought that the cost of resources for learning like pens and pencils and trips matter too.
In secondary schools, after food, uniform and travelling to school, we thought that the cost of resources and devices can be a big concern.
These were the top 5 costs, but we thought that others mattered too.
Like fundraising, clubs and fun events.
It's important that adults are thinking about the cost of school because some children might find it difficult to afford.
We all really think that food at school matters. A massive 97% of us agree that having enough food is very or quite important when it comes to feeling ready to learn.
We had a talk about what our least favourite foods are and what our favourite foods are. Here are some of our favourites.
My favourite food is hot dogs, sausage roll,
Mac and cheese,
Noodles.
pasta,
Steak,
cholo kebab,
Pizza.
flapjacks,
Pizzini.
biryani,
jollof rice.
kebabs.
But how would you feel if you were hungry at school? More than 3/4 of us thought that we would be unable to concentrate.
Lots of us thought it would be difficult to learn.
We thought we might feel tired and unwell, and we thought we would be worried about telling an adult at school about what was happening.
We also said that being hungry might make us feel embarrassed, left out, cross and annoyed.
It's important that adults know that hunger can make it much more difficult to concentrate in class, and we find it more difficult to learn.
Our health can be affected and we can feel embarrassed or just not ready to learn.
Lots of our schools trying to help and provide and make sure we have enough food.
We have a breakfast club which is all free.
Snack is provided for you. We used to have to pay, but now it's free.
If you don't have money in your parent pay, our school will still give you food.
Some of our schools let everyone know how they can get free school meals.
Make sure you know who to talk to if there's a problem.
And quite a few let you spend your free meal allowance at any point during the day.
19% of us weren't sure what our schools do to help.
Everybody knowing what help is available really makes a difference to young people if they need it.
We thought about what help there should be for pupils in Scotland.
The Scottish Government has promised to all primary schools will be able to have free lunches, not just P1 to 5.
89% of us primary children said that we thought that this was very or quite important. Some of the things that we said were:
it is very important in case someone can't afford school lunches, and so it is fair for everyone and no one goes home hungry or unwell.
I think it's important because some of the people that can't afford lunches won't have to worry about the cost and might make them feel less left out.
It's not our fault that our grown-ups can't afford a lunch.
We said that poverty doesn't stop when you go from P7 to S1, so a lot of us thought that the government should provide free school meals for secondary too. Here's some things that we thought should happen.
Make school lunches cheaper. Our food prices went up recently. This would help a lot of people.
Improve the welfare system to allow families to afford sufficient food.
Ensure people who need free school meals are accessing them. Make free school meals known about more and make sure people know if they are eligible.
Everyone gets free meals so no one feels embarrassed to say that they can't afford it.
We all agreed that having enough food at school is very important and that lots of our school is doing what they can to help.
But we have other ideas about what could help everyone. These include lowering costs, helping families with money, and universal free school meals to make sure nobody misses out or feels embarrassed.
You get all kinds of school trips.
Some are to places nearby, like going to the library or a local museum, and some can be for days and take people to different countries.
We think trips really matter. 82% of us say that school trips are either very or quite important.
When we were asked about our dream trips, we had lots and lots of ideas, like
going to the zoo, camping with the whole school,
going to the cinema,
go on a safari in Africa,
go to a football match,
walk about Paris and see the fashion,
going to a museum,
going on a jungle trip to the Amazon,
go swimming with pigs in Bahamas, sleep. So why are trips important to us? We thought we are
getting to have new experiences,
having fun,
help us to learn,
being with friends or making new ones,
learning new skills,
going places or trying new things.
Some of the things people said were:
it lets you experience things you didn't think you'd get to experience.
Although you are still learning, you are not constantly writing and your brain is not going 100 miles an hour. Also, it will give you other memories of school.
On trips, you try new experiences, learn new skills, make friends and take part in what everyone else is doing so you don't feel left out.
Get to do things you might not be able to do in your daily life outside school.
Some families might not be able to afford extra money for trips. So what would it be like for someone if they can't go on a trip?
The top 3 answers that people gave were:
they would feel left out and sad,
they would miss out on trying new things,
they would feel embarrassed.
Many of our schools try to make sure everyone can go on trips.
People told us their schools sometimes paid for trips or helped with the cost, did fundraising and let families pay over a long period of time.
Our school ensures that every child can take part in school trips no matter what their circumstances are.
They ask you to tell them if you're struggling with money and let you pay when you have the money.
Help with funding and money, suitcases, clothes, things you need, like toiletries.
Still, sometimes children can't go on trips when they'd like to. We were asked whether everyone could go on their P7 residential trip if they wanted to.
More than half of us said that we can all go on this trip. A few of us said no. And about a third of us weren't sure whether everybody would be able to go.
Quite a lot of us didn't know what our school does to help with trips or thought that there was nothing available.
Everybody knowing what kind of help is available with trips can really support families that need it.
Secondary school pupils were most likely to say they hadn't been on trips before.
Or that their schools don't do them because they're too expensive for families.
Not running trips means that nobody's left out because of how much money they have at home.
But it also means that everybody misses out on valuable experiences, including children and young people on low incomes.
At secondary, we were asked how the Scottish Government could help with access to trips.
We had a lot of suggestions.
Get the trips free for everyone so no one can be left out and they can all go and you don't miss an education for whatever it is you're learning about.
Provide schools money specifically to help pay for people's school trips if they cannot afford to go.
Could give more financial aid to lower income households specifically for school activities like trips and clubs.
We really like school trips. We think they make a difference to our learning and they're fun.
We get the chance to learn in different ways, have new experiences, see new places.
Bond with our classmates and teachers, and maybe even see what we would like to do when we are older.
If we don't get to have those experiences, we can feel left out and embarrassed and can miss out on really valuable learning.
Experiences like these are especially important if you can't afford to have them at home.
Trips are great for lots of reasons. So how can we make sure that every child has the chance to go on trips?
In the big question, we got the chance to come up with some big cost of the school day ideas.
These are to make sure everyone can take part and to learn at school, no matter how much money they have at home. There were too many big ideas to put in this, but the most common ones were about food.
Uniforms, fundraising and school trips. Here are just a few.
Make school meals free for everyone. Don't make students worry about cost of the school day or stuff going on in school.
Make sure that no family is left embarrassed by not being able to buy things. Give the families money for school. I think they should make sure that every child is taken care of money-wise. Supply them with stationery, uniform, food, etc.
Communicate with students and tell them that if there is a problem, then the school will always be there to support them.
Talk about poverty more and how it affects people.
There are lots of young people affected by poverty in our society. Nearly a quarter of children in all of Scotland are in families who live on low incomes.
Grown-ups need to find a way to make things better for children and young people who are facing problems.
Why do we need to do this? Because poverty has a really bad effect on children's lives and can continue to affect them as they grow up.
These are the main things we want the government to do.
Make sure free school meals are offered to everyone so that no one goes hungry at school.
Give more direct support to families to afford school costs.
Give more funding for school trips.
Let's make sure all children and young people have devices.
Listen to and involve children and young people in making decisions.
These are the main things we want our schools to do.
Provide the resources we need to learn. Help us be able to take part in school trips and anything else that might be difficult for money reasons.
Create happy and safe schools where we feel included, welcome and respected and listened to.
Make sure there are kind adults who we can speak to about money worries or anything else.
Make sure that nobody is hungry at school and offer help in a way that isn't embarrassing.
Tell everyone about the support we can get for food, trips, uniform and anything else. It will help if anyone ever needs it.
We think we all need to talk more about poverty and equity.
We hope that what we've said will help our schools when they're deciding what to pay attention to and what to spend their money on.
All the way through the big question, we've shown what our priorities are.
There are lots of other things that we think should happen. There are just too many to list here.
To see the whole list, go here.
So, what's next? All this information has been shared with the government,
schools and the people who look after our schools.
We've asked the Cabinet Secretary for Education and Skills to respond to what we've said.
We need to keep reminding people who can make changes that this is what we want to happen.
Your school can do that by being part of the Cost of the School Day voice network.
And all adults can keep working to make sure that poverty doesn't stop anyone at your school from taking part learning and having a good time.
Our ideas really matter.
And now that you've shared yours to the big question, let's make sure everyone gets to hear them.
Thank you.